You've probably heard of high ticket coaching packages, but what do they actually mean and why should you offer them? In the next 30 minutes, Hilde breaks down for us what high ticket packages are, why they are the best online coaching model for you, and how you can get started today. Because the problem is if you offer coaching by the session or if you offer coaching packages for $500 or less, you quickly run into problems. One is you want to pay yourself, but if you offer low ticket packages, there's often very little money left in the business to grow it. So your only option then is to get more clients and more clients and more clients, but you're quickly drained out. And of course, you have limited time. Another problem is with the low ticket packages is you attract people that don't have a lot of skin in the game. They're often not very motivated. They don't respond back. They don't take action. And they often just look for a quick fix. So the working with them is very frustrating and they get very little results. The question, of course, is then, how can I develop a coaching program for $3,500 and people are happy to pay for it? And the free key ingredients that you need are clarity of your message, professionalism of your service, and confidence in yourself. And Hilde will talk about this a little bit more in a second, but I want to make sure that you're not wasting your time with this video. So this video is for you if you're ready to become a high ticket coach, and that includes challenging some of the beliefs and mindsets that are holding you back from charging higher prices. And this video is for you if you're ready to develop a message that your clients actually want to listen to. And lastly, you have to be willing to lean into the discomfort if you want to do things differently. On the other hand, you're probably wasting your time with us today if you think setting the price is the hardest part, when actually putting yourself out there and believing in what you're offering is actually the hardest part. And if you think your coaching is perfect, your sales process is flawless, and it's other people that finally have to realize how awesome you are, then you're probably also not getting the most out of this conversation. But enough from me. Hilde, how have you developed some of the solutions that you're going to talk about with us today, and what mistakes have you made along the way?
Well, when I first started my journey on Instagram, I started to sell low ticket, mid ticket packages. But I quickly found out that that was not for me. I did not like that way of selling, because selling high ticket and low ticket is completely different. But I have been working within sales for 10 to 12 years. So what I've done now is just to package everything I know into one single program, right? So how to think, how to structure your sales process, and how to create the right routines and structure to that you can eventually make the sales process go on autopilot. So that's what I've done now. And what kind of mistakes I've made. I wouldn't necessarily say mistakes, but what the common thing when you start in this online space is that when you're starting from scratch, you often compare yourself to everybody else, right? Which resulted in me focusing on the wrong things, such as likes and comments, and what I say, the wrong term of consistency. And what I mean by that is I posted just to post, because everybody else was talking about you have to post consistently. But what does that mean, right? When you're new, you are thinking that consistently means every day. But what you have to do is you have to create the right content for the right audience, and you have to show up. You don't have to show up every day, but you have to show up with the right content every day. And I think that's what I did wrong in the beginning. And the second thing was that I was comparing my step 1 to everybody else's step 8. 9, and 10. And what I have realized now is that I have to know where I am on my journey.
Yeah.
And I have to, because I saw what everybody else was doing, and I just wanted to copy them, but that does not work. So you have to understand where are you in the journey. You have to take one step at a time. You have to make the right steps, not the quick steps. You can't skip parts. So that was like basically what I've learned. I wouldn't say mistake, but I have learned a lot during that time. Yeah.
Yeah, and I can totally relate. Many of my followers have started with PN, and I've worked for PN for a long time. And one of the things that I often heard is, how can I be a nutrition coach when there's PN, this multi-million-dollar company with a reach of millions of people? And then you're sitting next to them and you think, oh, I need to blog, I need Instagram and this and this and this, and I need all the certification and all the things, when actually there's also a lot of value when you're quite small and in the beginning, because you can focus on areas that big companies can't focus on because they have to reach so many people. I want to make sure that everyone who's watching us right now knows exactly what we're talking about. So can you clarify a little bit, what are high ticket packages? What does it actually mean, and what are the benefits?
A high ticket package is or offer is that you offer high value, a high cost product or service. So they usually cost a bit more, but it offers buyers a higher value.
Yeah, and can you explain a little bit more what can higher value mean in the nutrition and health space? Is it faster results, better coaching? What is more value actually in the health and fitness space?
Well, it doesn't necessarily just have to go for the nutrition, but like more value is like for me, for instance, I guide my clients through a specific process. Usually when people, and then I also use how I sell, what my program is all about is how to create confidence when selling. So value is, you can have a different value than me, right? But when you're selling high value, you are not selling a do-it-yourself course. You are not selling a $25 ebook. And because people are paying you for a specific, to help you with a specific problem, right? So if you are going to spend $3,000 on a program, you have to deliver some kind of value that the person on the other side cannot Google. You understand? So it has to be, the people are buying a result. At the end of the day, they're buying from you because you have told them that you can help them with a specific problem. So you have to deliver on the expectations of the client. So when you are like, if you're paying for $25 ebook, you know that you're not going to get a one-on-one coaching, guidance, and everything. So it's a completely different game. So you have to know what you're talking about. So you are an expert in your field, basically. Is what it means.
Yeah. And I want to dive a little bit deeper into how we can create packages like this, but we haven't actually been really specific. Can you tell us some numbers of what you consider high ticket coaching?
You mean the price range of that? Yeah. Well, it can vary from $2,000 to $15,000 to even higher.
Yeah.
So that's like it depends, but it's in that time, like in that price range.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how everybody who's watching right now feels, but if I think about saying to somebody, you have to pay $15,000 for my coaching. It feels exciting to the imagination that I get so much money, but also I feel anxious. Anxious
Yeah.
maybe to, can I deliver on this result? And maybe even what's going to happen when I have so much money? And I'm curious for everyone who's watching, what are some of the beliefs or stories come up that make you feel anxious, that create this fear? Like, I can't offer high ticket coaching because I don't have enough followers to prove that I can actually do it. Or
Mm.
I only have a couple of visitors to my website. How can I offer such a high price? Also, what I often see is this: I have to stuff a program with as much content as possible without actually deciding what is really helpful. And maybe there are some other things that come up, like I cannot charge high prices as a new coach because I haven't proven myself, or the people that I want to work with, they would never be ready to pay so much money. So for everyone who's listening, let me know, what are some of these thoughts and fears that come up when you think about receiving $15,000 for your coaching? And question for you, what can we do when we notice these beliefs that are blocking us?
Mm. Well, you have to realize that these kind of beliefs are very, very normal. But wherever you are in your journey, you will overcome some challenges while you create new ones, because you're always on the move. But you have, like, the first thing you have to do is to make an offer and a package that you're proud of. And you have to ask yourself, okay, if I was a buyer, would I buy this program? Would I buy this package? And I always say to my clients, you have to practice your speech, because it's all about confidence. Yeah, like, you can clearly see in when you talk that you have confidence in what you're talking about. You are passionate about what you're talking about. But imposter syndrome is so common. But even though when I sold a $25 ebook, people still thought it was too expensive. So it's true. So people are like, you will find objections, like, either way. If you sell a $25 ebook or a $5,000 program, it's all about how can you communicate your value? How can you articulate your value and create a story and excite the client or the listener on the other side? Because they are, as I said before, they are buying a result. So it's all about how you can communicate at the end of the day, and you practice.
Can you give us some specific strategies how we can actually figure out this value that people seek, or how we can increase our practice, or how could we improve our speech?
Well, the first thing I say to my clients is, introduce yourself to me. And they like, my name is Susan. I'm a coach. Okay, what do you sell? Well, I have multiple offers. So they start to mumble and they can't clearly communicate just the introduction of who they are. Instead of saying, yeah, well, my name is Hilde and I'm high ticket sales coach. And I teach coaches and service providers how to sell a 4-figure offer. So that's a more confident way of saying it.
Yeah.
So you can see, like, it's all about confidence. So for every session, my clients introduce themselves, and for each session they get better and better, and the confidence grows. So that's very simple, but yet so difficult, because people struggle just to introduce themselves properly with confidence. So you can start with that practice there and
Yeah,
techniques,
I
exercises. Yeah.
I absolutely love it. When I started out, I had to deal with sorry, I had to deal with my business partner, and we would call ourselves at random times during the day, and we always had to pick up when in every situation and introduce us with our pitch
Yeah.
every time. And then after that, it was like, oh, I can't talk right now, and then leave it. But throughout the day, whenever somebody called, we had to pick up and introduce us with our pitch, and that helped so much because suddenly I was talking about my business at the grocery, at the barber, when I was just walking down the street with my girlfriend back then. I, I had this practice at every time I was just, I'm this and I'm doing that. This is the results that I want. So I absolutely love the idea of practicing to introduce yourself.
Yeah. It's so important and it helps tremendously. And people say to me, "Oh, but you're so confident." But I practice. I practice my speech, and you do it repeatedly every time, and you seem so confident, but you are as well because you know exactly what to say and who you are and what you do.
And I'm curious for everyone who's watching us, let me know or let us know in the comments and post something like introduction so that you commit to practice your introduction. And while you're commenting, I have another question. It's nice to introduce ourselves and talk about it, but how do we find high ticket clients? It's not like they're walking around with a sign like, I'm ready to pay a lot of money, talk to me.
Yeah, they are quite hard to find because they do not show themselves that much. Because you have to realize that the psychology of high ticket buyers are completely different because they are lurkers. I'm now currently looking for a high ticket coach myself. I do not like any of their photos. I do not follow them. I do not comment. They are just lurking around, and I'm just lurking around. But when they have seen enough, they will reach out to you through DMs, or they will book a consultation call with you, or they will just buy, say they are ready to invest.
Yeah.
But that's the main, that's the difference because people are like, they are complaining about not having enough engagement or liking a post. They can't find the right clients, but they are there. But they are looking at your content. That's why it's so important to post the right content for your audience because they're watching every move that you make. And they, when they've seen enough on Instagram, they will go to your Facebook and maybe your YouTube, and they will just watch and see if you know your stuff because they are thinking about investing $3,000 in your program. So they want to know if you know what you're talking about. So they are there, but they are hard to find because they are not like usually public engaged in your content or
and what I think is really important when I think about my clients is how are they spending their day? And if they are ready to pay $3,000, $5,000, $7,000 for a coaching, they're not sitting on their phone all day watching for the next best tip. They are looking for quality communication to the point, and they have the feeling, oh, this one post actually made a big difference. I implemented this idea, and now I'm convinced the person, my coach, can actually help me further. So I always try to imagine what they're doing, and if they have $5,000 to spend, then they're probably working really hard on something, and that's the way they interact. They're not sitting in the comments and, hey, I'm your fan, you're so cool, I like your t-shirt.
No.
They're like, can you deliver?
Can you deliver? That's exactly it. Can you deliver?
And I want to pose a little bit of a challenge for you. Let's imagine I have an Instagram account with 100 followers,
Yeah.
and I know they are mostly friends and families. How can I reach people that are ready to buy $3,500 for my weight loss program? What strategy would you use?
Well, I usually spend a lot of time in my DMs, so I have call to actions to make them reach, like go to my DMs and have conversation with me in the DMs, where I take my time and ask, like I answer every question they have, and when they are ready to buy, when they've seen enough, I highly recommend that they go to like they book a consultation call with me. So I get them on the phone and have a sales call, and then I ask what the next steps will be. What will make, like, because they need some reassurance that the money they spend will be worth it. So I think it's very difficult to book or to get someone to pay without having some kind of communication, either through DMs or on sales calls. So I always say to my clients, you have to get them on the phone, because it makes it easier for them to trust you as well, and to get a like connection and a relation. And then you can answer every question that they have and reassure them that this is the right move. And if it's not, then you have to be honest and say, listen, I do not think this is the right option for you, but I know another coach that might help you. That's
Yeah.
also very important.
And I can already imagine some people like tightening up in their chest when they're thinking, oh, I have to answer every question. The reality is, I still get questions that I don't know the answer to. And the only way to actually build the confidence to answer some of these questions is to actually have the conversations, because you cannot learn infinite amounts of knowledge and then to imagine you can answer every question, because every question will be a little bit different. The situation will be a little bit different. So please, if you're watching this, don't tie it up and think, oh, I have to learn all the nutrition knowledge in the world.
No.
Get in the DMs, get in the conversations, and understand what people are actually asking you. And through practice, you will understand what they actually need in information. And by answering this all the time, you will get better at that.
Yeah.
You talked about program. How can we start if maybe we have a low ticket coaching offer? How can we upgrade or structure a high ticket coaching program? What would be the steps?
Well, the first thing you have to do is, like, you have to market research is so important, and that was the thing I didn't do when I was selling low ticket, mid ticket. So you have to start with what you know and what you think a certain problem might be, and you have to go out and ask people what are the main challenges, problems, and I might have a solution. Would they eventually pay for my my solution? Because if this is not a problem they have, it's no point of making a program at all.
Yeah.
So the first thing you have to do is you have to start with connection with your followers, your audience. Ask what the problem is, and do a good enough research to know that, okay, this is a problem that so many people have. Try to structure everything that you have, that you know about this topic, into a program. So that's like the recipe, I guess.
Yeah. And what I often do is I also look at evidence of success. For example, something that I very often do is I go to Amazon and I look for books on the topic, and then I see what books have been sold the most. because that tells me something about the problem, something that this book tries to solve a problem, and I
Yeah.
can actually read what problem it is solving. That's for example is one way how I really like to do market research, to understand, okay, what is the solution and what are people ready to pay money for. I want to talk about something else apart from market research, and that is, what is actually the difference between high ticket selling, because we talked about market research, high ticket selling, and what are some of the mindsets that we need to be successful?
Well, what do you mean, like high ticket selling and low ticket selling? What's the difference?
So essentially, the process, I imagine that the process between selling a $200 program and a $2,000 program
Yeah.
is different. And what are the differences?
So when you're selling a high ticket program, the sales process is longer.
Mhm.
Because as I said previously, they are looking through your content. They have to be reassured that they get value for money. So the entry, the level of entry is higher than if you are paying $250 for a 4 weeks program, and because the cost of entry is lower, like they usually do not go all in. They are not like they do not hold themselves accountable. There's no like high risk involved. But if you're selling a high ticket coaching program, they are hiring you also to to for you to hold them accountable.
Mhm. Mhm.
So they are most definitely going to show up to get
Mhm.
value for money. But what I see is, like, when I sold mid-ticket, low ticket, clients usually they didn't bother showing up. I found it more difficult to get testimonials because they like were so up and down.
Mhm.
Um, and basically, many of them are just wanting to pay for a magic formula that's going to give them a six-figure
Yeah, yeah.
six-figure business. But how to be successful? Be patient,
Mm.
because and you also have to know your stuff if you're going to sell a high ticket program, because they have expectations. They, as I said before, they're not paying you $3,000 on something they can Google.
Mhm.
They want to have you to help them with a specific problem that is worth $3,000 for them. So, but like, be patient and do what is required of you to be successful. Like, do Instagram lives, do Facebook lives, step out of the comfort zone.
Mhm.
That's very important, because you have to be. It's a different game, but
Yeah,
it's possible,
yeah.
but it's a different game. It is.
And I think it's also very exciting because there's so many coaches out there that try to get clients, but they're essentially sitting there hoping
Yeah.
something happens.
Yeah.
But if you are ready to step in front of the camera, talk about your stuff in a live, or if you're confident to reach out to somebody in a DM, have a conversation, share a tip with them, then you're already standing out because you're actively in front of them, talking and showing what you can do. So I think
Exactly.
that is super important. And that also means, unfortunately, for some of us, including myself, we may have to jump on this real thing and get in front of more people,
Yeah.
because this is what we have to do if we want to be high ticket coaches. We have to be confident in front of the camera, And if we're trying to hide ourselves, that it can't be a good way to, we can't look confident if we try to hide ourselves.
And also a very important thing is that you have to build your network.
Mhm.
And you have to show up in the DMs and expect nothing other than a conversation.
Mhm.
And I think so many people are just like you said, just sitting there and hoping that a client will fall down and say, I want to buy your program. But that does not work. So you have to work for your network. You have to create friends on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube. You have to create an audience, a good network, and eventually then they will buy from you. But do not expect 6 figures if you do not bother even asking how they are.
Yeah.
But like, because people are very quick to jump on when they see that someone is thinking about buying their product or services, then they respond. So
Yeah.
that's that.
Something that I learned from Christy Miller is really, you will never grow faster with your income than with your personal development. And you have to become a high ticket coach first before you do high ticket coaching stuff. And I'm curious, we talked about how to communicate better, how to show up more professionally, how to build a little bit more confidence. How can people dive deeper into some of these ideas and maybe get a little bit more details on how to develop this?
You have to, like, first you have to be clear on who you are and what you want. What do you want? And like, start writing down who your audience is, what are you going to sell, how are you going to sell it, in what channels are you showing up, how much are you showing up. So all of these things have to be you have to be clear on. And then you have to practice your speech a lot, right? Selling is about confidence. So, and confidence comes from mastering things that you like never thought that you could master.
Mhm.
And you master those things by stepping out of the comfort zone and see that, okay, it went okay. I didn't die. And then you learn and then you grow, right? But just jump out there. Yeah, sorry.
And I love how this goes full circle back to the introduction, because you can't introduce yourself if you don't know who you are, if you don't know who your clients are and what you offer and what the results is that you bring, then you will sit there. And what do? I'm a coach.
Yeah.
I think. So
Well,
gaining this clarity is super important. And I know you have a free business plan on your website to develop some of these ideas. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Well, my free business plan is it's about this: being clear on who you are, your values, how you're going to market things, what you're going to sell, how you're going to sell it, how you're going to get the money in. So my free business plan is it's all about helping you to get clear on you and your business. So that you can find that on my webpage, and it's on in my bio on Instagram as well. So go and check it out if you struggle with that part.
Yeah, and I highly recommend you check it out. The link is also in the video description. For me, writing a business plan, even for every product that I create, it challenges the assumptions of the clarity that I think I have. But if I actually sit down and answer some of these questions, I notice how much I actually think I have clarity instead of having actual clarity. And where can people get in contact with you? Can you tell us about that?
On Instagram, an email. My Instagram is where you find me. You can find me at it's.hildes. So go and check me out.
And let me throw this in. You also have a really cool Facebook group. It's very exclusive. So there are not thousands of people posting thousands of random questions. It's super exclusive, and you're in there, you're posting exclusive lives. So if you want to learn about sales, I personally can highly recommend you check it out. I'm in this group as well. For everyone watching, thank you so much. Hilde, thank you so much for being here. And for everyone, have a great evening and bye.
Thank you for having me. Bye.